Should we get on to some love?
Yeah, let's do some love. I don't know if I have anything good to say, but we'll figure it out.
That's right.
Close to Valentine's Day. Hey.
Exactly. Everyone's going to be like, oh my gosh, Cindy's just taking over Rave It Up. She's everywhere.
Yeah, let me know if you don't have time. I'll just do the show.
Yeah. Before we get into today's interview, we would like to give a shout out to our Patreons, Irene, Bev, and Michael. If you haven't heard of Patreon before, it is a great way to support us and keep us running and improving. You pick a membership tier that suits you and your budget per month, and in return for supporting us, we'll give you behind-the-scenes content and free stuff. You don't have to give much either. You can be a part of our Patreons for as little as $4 a month. Just visit patreon.com/Rave It Up. You can even donate through PayPal if you don't trust other sites. You can do so just through our email, raveituptv@gmail.com. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact us. We appreciate anything you can do to support us. Now, let's get into this interview. Hey guys, it's Lauren Yates from Rave It Up here. And today, we have Canadian actress Cindy Busby on the show for the third time. She loves coming on the show and we love having her. But today, she's come on the show for a very special episode of Rave It Up. We've decided to make this episode all about love. L-O-V-E. Now, we want to be there for the single people, but we also want to be there for the couples. And Cindy has married her soulmate, Chris, so we thought she'd be the perfect guest for this show. So today we find out how you can find the one and what attributes you should be trying to find in your ideal partner. And if you're already in a relationship, how you can make it the best relationship possible. I'm sure I've got you excited enough already, so let's get into it. All right. So we've got Cindy back on talking about love. So when I was having a think about this episode, I was like, it's so especially meaningful for us girls because, you know, when we're growing up, we dream about our future husband, our dream wedding, you know, we're being so happy and so in love and I guess feeling what it is like to be in love. Did you ever have like a vision board or like a list of what you wanted in the ideal guy?
Gosh, you know what? You're saying all these things and I'm like the antithesis. I don't want to say I'm the antithesis of all that, but I never visualized a wedding for myself growing up. I never visualized the dress and the ring and all of that stuff. Like I didn't even see it for myself for some reason. And it was so strange that even when I got engaged, I was so in shock about it. It was like, I don't know, there's just so much pressure around all of those things that like, I felt, I guess the best word is uncomfortable with the whole idea of having that much. And I know this is going to sound so funny coming from an actor, but to have that much attention put on you about
You're on TV and movies all the time, but all right.
I know, but that's like not me being me. That's me like telling someone else's story. But when it comes to me, I feel like kind of like awkward about it. And so I was not a conventional lovey-dovey like wedding bride person. And then we ended up having like the smallest wedding ever, which in a way was kind of my dream. So really it kind of came true. The visualization of having something very small. But
I guess the way to do it, you know, how many people are you going to, if you do a huge wedding, how many people are really going to be in your life in like 10 years time?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, like I've heard a lot of horror stories, but I've also heard amazing stories. So it just depends. But I think, you know, I've had a lot of experiences of meeting other partners and such. And I think the biggest lesson that I learned is the moment I stopped putting so much attention on the external side of trying to find the person that would love me, etc. And the moment I started focusing more on loving me and what made me happy, the perfect person came into my life without me knowing it, rather than me searching for it and you know, kind of being like outwardly driven. I was inwardly driven, and therefore the perfect person came into my life. And I went through a lot of trial and error to get there, because I was someone that fell kind of easily and fell hard. And then always, I guess I had a bit of a like Mr. Fix-It syndrome.
Yes.
Where I'd be with in relationships where I'm like, it's not really working, but I'm gonna make it work. And then, and then finally I was like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm going to work on me, and I'm going to do me, and I'm going to be the best version of me that I can be for whoever is going to come into my life and is going to be right for me. And then somehow I did. And,
Voila.
poof. Trust me, it's not that easy, but yeah, it's been a really cool journey. And, it's been certainly heartbreaking at times, and there were a lot of tears shed, but it's really nice when you find someone that holds you accountable and wants you to be always better and want you to grow and challenges you. And sometimes you're like, no, I don't want to. But then somehow like the little voice in your mind's like, you know what, Cindy, I think he's right. And you're like, yeah, I know. But don't tell him that, okay?
The angel and the devil on the shoulder.
Yeah, the devil and the angel. Yeah, totally. But yeah, it's great. It's I think, the best thing about relationships is it's not something that just happens and okay, you're good forever. Like it's something you work at, and as human beings, we're constantly growing and learning, and you have to constantly grow and learn together. And sometimes your partner's going to be up here and you're going to be working your way up. And then they're going to, it's like a pendulum, constantly like helping each other up, holding each other accountable. And yeah, I don't know. That's kind of the best way I can describe it.
And how did you know all the other guys in your past were not the ideal partner for you? What were some of the top deal breakers for you?
Ooh. I would say that I think the best thing to do is you got to stand in the integrity of your needs, but you also have to put the needs of your partner, and you also have to stand in integrity. And I think that because I wasn't always standing in my own integrity, that didn't give them permission to as well. And so I think that when someone shows you who they really are, listen, and don't just wait for them to be the version of what you think they could be based on like a couple positive attributes they might have. If they are showing you a side of them that you don't enjoy, but then once in a while they show you this other side, maybe that side is telling you something, but you're not listening. And so I think it's really important to listen to the signs of when it's not working. And sometimes it's not because someone's bad or anything. It's just that it's not the right timing, or you get along, but maybe it's just not the person for you that's going to like stand tall with you in the journey of life. Some people are just not ready for that yet. Or if you don't want the same things in life, I think there's just, there's a lot of time wasted in waiting for someone to be what you want them to be, when that's never going to be what they're going to be. And that was me again, focusing on someone else. Meanwhile, I was ignoring my own needs and my own wants. And the moment I stopped focusing on that and started being like, okay, why do I keep trying to fix this person when really I'm just ignoring the parts of me that I want to work on? And the moment that you have the energy to do that, and you want to be with a partner who's going to encourage you to do that, because, we're all our own independent people growing. And so you want to have someone who's gonna encourage that, like be your cheerleader.
Yeah.
And not be intimidated by that. You want to have someone who is loving and supportive. And sometimes there's people that can't be because they're insecure in their own things.
Yeah, definitely. I love how deep you just went. Hopefully everyone can learn a lot from that. I really want to hear the story. I really want to hear the story about how you and Chris met. Were you friends before actually getting together romantically?
No. I was out one night with some girlfriends. It was one of those things where it was truly like, I wasn't interested in meeting anybody. And we were out and about one night, and my friends and I were kind of like hopping from one place to the other. And then we ended up going to this place and we were like dancing, and he happened to be there that night, and he kind of came up to me like at the end of the evening and was like, hey, like, I saw you and you're pretty and whatever, and I'd love to take you out sometime. And I was like, huh?
You creep?
What?
What are you staring at me for?
And so he asked me for my number and I gave it to him, and then I guess he wrote it wrong in his phone or something happened. And then I was on my way out, and we were in the car, and just before we took off, he kind of knocked on the window and came out, and I was like, oh, what? And he's like, yeah, sorry, the number didn't work. And I was like, oh my goodness, like you actually tried it right away. Sometimes someone gives you the number and you don't try till the next day, or if ever. And and I was like, oh my gosh, okay, well, what's your number? Like, I'll text you. And then we did, and then we ended up going out that week, getting together, and then we kind of dated casually, for a couple months. And then I had to go back to Canada because I was going to be shooting up there, and I had a couple weddings to go to, and we just decided to keep dating, even though we were going to be long distance for quite some time. And then it just, I don't know, we just really fell for each other. And I had never done a long distance relationship before. I mean, we made a rule for each other that every 3 weeks we would meet, whether it was for a weekend or like whatever. And we really stuck true to that. And we really stood in our integrity and our choice to make time for each other and put each other first. And that was, I got to say, probably the first time I'd ever been with someone who truly put me first and spoke my love language, which was quality time. Like, I don't need to spend every waking moment with you, but when we are together, I want to be together, and I want to like have fun and laugh and like, have a best friend. And that's like who we genuinely just wanted to spend so much time together, and really enjoyed it all. And it just kind of grew from there. So it was really a serendipitous moment. Like I have to say, it was one of those things that just came together. And after a couple dates, I was like, uh-oh, I think we at Houston, we got a problem. And by problem, I mean not a problem. We have quite the opposite.
This could have been my last first date.
Yeah, totally. And I gotta say, like that feeling when you like go on a date with someone you just really like, and they really like you, there's just like, there's nothing better than that. Like, it's such a great feeling, and that's the one thing I will tell people. I remember my friend Sarah, who I've talked about before, she had told me, because I was like having, a bit of like some doubts of like, oh, like, I don't know, is this going to work out? That kind of like classic thing. And she was like, you know what, Cindy, just enjoy these moments. You don't need to figure it all out right away. You don't need to know the future of your relationship and everything you're going to do together, whether you're going to get married and have, 10 kids. She's like, just enjoy the now moment together, because you have forever to look forward to those things. But this moment of dating each other and getting to know each other only lasts so long. So like really relish in that idea. And I think that that's something, I know I've made the mistake of like wanting to skip that part constantly, because the uncomfortable part of not knowing where we stand and what the other person thinks of us and all that kind of thing sometimes trumps the really fun discovery process of dating. So that was a piece of information, advice she'd given me that I would love to share, because it really stuck with me of being, and look, now it's like, we're married together, we live together, we're married. It's like, we have our whole lives together. And I think back on that time, and of course, like, we're still enjoying all of our incredible moments, but those moments we'll never have again. And so I invite everyone to just enjoy the present moment, and knowing that if this relationship that you're in or whatever doesn't last forever, appreciate what it brought to you in those moments,
Yeah.
because there's always going to be someone in your life that's going to show up and there's going to be the best person for you at that time. And then if you're lucky enough to find a partner that can grow and challenge you forever, then great. But it's sometimes we get so lost in the emotional pain of it that we forget that there's so many, there's all I think there's a lot of partners out there for us. It's just a matter of what comes at what time, and who can allow us to learn and grow.
Yeah. And I'd say also for women that kind of get down on themselves going, oh my gosh, it didn't work. Like, don't get down on yourself. It happened for a reason.
Oh my gosh, totally.
Make sure you take a lesson out of
Yes.
past relationships so that you can call them mistakes or lessons or whatever, but make sure you don't do it in the next one. Then you know what you want and what you don't want. That's been the biggest realization for me.
Absolutely. And a lot of it is like self-reflection too. Like, it's not just about the other person. It's a 50-50 effort. And, you can be with someone and they're not being who you want them to be, but you're still in the relationship. So why are you still in a relationship that's not working? It's not just on them, it's on you. Why are you still there? And it's a lot more complicated than that. I realize I've been myself in circumstances that were not, that black and white, but I can certainly say that there's always a way out. And sometimes it just takes time and support, but yeah. And also, sometimes, and I've been in this circumstance where you're sitting with someone on a date or the 5th date, or you've been with someone for a year and you're sitting there. And sometimes we don't listen enough. We don't listen to what the person is telling us or showing us, kind of like what I was just saying. And we keep skipping over that. And sometimes I think it's really worthwhile to take time to ask ourselves, not if the person likes us, but do we like them? Because I have made the mistake of being like, oh my gosh, like, does he like me? Like, does he like me? But meanwhile, I never ask myself, like, do I like him? Like, does he fulfill me? Like, do I feel good when I'm with this person? Or is it just fulfilling a part of me that wants to be wanted?
Yeah. That's something like, you simplified it. Something that we make just so like crazy in our minds and way too complicated. Yeah. You can simplify it.
It is. And I know it's a lot easier said than done, but it really does kind of come down to that. And I certainly could have done a little bit more of that in my earlier years, but it made me who I am today.
Exactly. It's all a journey.
Yeah.
You mentioned your love language before, which was quality time. For those who don't know, the 5 love languages, they're physical touch, words of affirmation, gifts, acts of service, and quality time.
That's
right.
What
is
yep.
Chris's? Is he the same? Because sometimes people are really lucky that they can have the same, but a lot of the time they don't.
Yeah. I remember us doing the test years ago, and his is quality time, but he's a really like a cuddly person. Like, he loves
physical
holding
touch.
my hand, and he loves like cuddling on the couch while we watch a movie.
That's
and
me.
Hugging me. That's you. Yeah.
I love physical touch.
It's so funny because I'm such a lovey person. Like, my friends, I'm French Canadian, so we love hugs and 2 kisses on the cheek and the whole thing. But I don't like it. That was a hard part for me. So I was like, I've learned to have to embrace that side and not just do to your partner. And that's one of the things they talk about in the book. I highly recommend it. It's a great book.
Yes.
5 love languages. But it's not just about doing to your partner what you would like for yourself, but filling their cup with their love language, and in hopes that they will fill your cup with your love language.
Yeah. It's literally like speaking 2 different languges. You're not going to understand each other.
They're from Mars and they're from me.
French and I speak English. We'll be like, what?
Yeah, totally.
And I think an important question is, do you think that couples should always have like heaps in common, or do you think they should just have the basics, especially when it comes to like values and where you want to go in life, and then you guess you can grow together?
don't know. I think it's really different for everybody, like everyone is so unique in what they need and want. I think as long as, um, your partner is open and willing and, super respectful and understanding, that makes a really big difference. But yeah, if you believe in something and your partner is not open and willing to hear or understand your side of things, or to at least listen to you, I think that can be really challenging and not validating. I think it's going to be impossible for the most part to find a partner that's going to believe everything you believe and like everything you like.
Yeah.
But you can laugh about it. Like, we have a bunch of quirks and things that we do that we kind of tease each other about, but it's all in good fun. And, we love each other despite all of those amazing things, because those kind of silly things about all of us are what make us special and unique. And to me, it's like that famous quote that Marilyn Monroe says. She's like, you don't deserve me at my best if you don't love me at my worst. And that's kind of, as long as it's done in a respectful manner, of course. But yeah, that's kind of how I see it. But I think it's very personal for everybody.
Yeah. And I have a funny question I wanted to ask in actually our last interview, because we're having a big old chat about some of your Hallmark movies, having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, Chris is a producer, right? So you guys are very in a similar field, which is great because you can understand each other in that way. But you are in a lot of lovey-dovey Hallmark movies, falling in love with all these different guys, kissing them and all that.
Yep.
Does he ever like feel a bit weird about that? Does he get a bit jealous?
No, he honestly, fun fact, Chris actually started off as an actor. He kind of initially moved to Los Angeles to be an actor, and then he found himself in the producing world, and that's where he's been for, about 10 years. But no, listen, like, maybe there's a part inside of him that, doesn't feel super great about me kissing somebody else, but he understands the business. He knows it's a job, it's storytelling, and he feels really confident in who he is as a human being and in our relationship. And at the same time, it's like, if you're not trustworthy in your relationship, like if you don't feel trust and loyalty to one another, then like, what are you doing it for? You know what I mean? Like, you kind of have to stand in the trust of the relationship and know that you're always going to come back to one another. And I think that that's really important to have, which we do. And no, every time I have a movie premiere, he sits on the couch with me and watches the movie, and like, he's always telling me he's so proud of me, and like, he's met a bunch of my co-stars and they talk and get along. Like, he's just a great human being. He's super excited for me, and yeah, there's nothing like that. I can't speak for everybody, but most people are supportive, but there are some people out there that are not, and well, that's why I'm not with them.
Well, it helps that, as you said, he was an actor before, and with being in the same industry, he gets it. But
totally.
A great way to end it, talking about being really being trustworthy and having trust in the relationship, as you said. And do you guys in the future plan on doing any cool collaboration together? Obviously, with an actor and a producer. Beautiful match.
I know. It's a match made in heaven.
It is.
I don't know. You never know. But right now, we kind of keep those two worlds separate. But I wouldn't be opposed to the scenario. I think it would be fun.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show again, Cindy. And I really loved hearing your story. I know for some people they don't want to share their story because it's, private. But I really hope that we helped a lot of couples out there and also some single people as well.
Yeah. I think, the best thing is just to keep growing and learning together, and me talking about it is me still practicing my own, practice what you preach sort of thing. And if I can be of service to anyone, that means a lot to me. So.
Oh, well, you're always a service on this show, I think.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, we hope you enjoyed this very special love episode of Rave It Up with Cindy Busby. We really hope to have her on again later in the year. Fingers crossed. But if you want to check out any of our other interviews, please visit our website, raveituptv.com. All of our podcasts and videos are there for you to enjoy. And also our podcasts are on all podcasting platforms now. Just type in Rave It Up. And if you also go to our website, you will also see my book, Knowing What I Know Now. It's right behind me. It's available as paperback, ebook, and also an audiobook version. It's really, really exciting, as well as my other book called Staying Strong, Finding Inner Peace During Hard Times. Go check it out if you haven't already. But for now, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time, guys. Bye!